Careblazer, if your loved one has ever looked you in the eyes, you, the person who shows up every single day, who has given up sleep and time and sometimes your own health to take care of them, and they accused you of stealing from them, I want you to know you're not alone. You're not imagining it, and you are absolutely not failing. This is one of the most painful things I hear about inside of our support rooms and in private conversations I have with Careblazers. And I want to spend some time with you today really explaining what's happening, because when you understand the brain behind this, it can help, I don't know, make things feel a bit easier, even though it's never all the way easy. So many Careblazers tell me things like, she told my sister I stole her jewelry. I haven't touched it. I've cared for her for 3 years now, and she's telling people I'm a thief. Or he hides his wallet, then accuses me of stealing it every single day. I find it in his shoes, in the freezer, under his pillow, and then he looks at me with such anger like I'm the enemy. Or she called the police on me last week. I'm her daughter. I quit my job to move in and help her. I don't even know how much more of this I can take. If any of these hit close to home, then stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why this happens in the brain. And I promise you, it's not because your loved one really believes you're a bad person. It's really not about you at all. It's about what dementia is doing to their brain. Let me explain and name what this actually looks like, because it can show up in a lot of different ways. Sometimes it's about money. They're convinced someone took cash from their wallet, their purse, their bank account, or a hiding spot that they can no longer remember. Sometimes it's jewelry, medications, important papers, or specific objects that they feel are personally significant to them. Sometimes the accusation is directed directly toward you, the primary caregiver, and sometimes it shifts. Today it's you, tomorrow it's the neighbor, next week it's a grandchild. Sometimes they call other family members to report the theft, and sometimes they call the police. And one of the hardest parts is that after the accusation, they can seem calm, like it never happened, or they're totally fine, even though you're the one left shaking, heartbroken, furious, trying to convince everybody who heard the story that it's not true, maybe all of that at once. All of that is real, all of that is hard, and all of it has a neurological explanation. So what is actually happening in the brain? There are three things I want you to understand. Number one, the hippocampus, the brain's memory center, it's being destroyed by dementia. The hippocampus is part of the brain that allows new memories to form. Think of it like a recording device, where when the hippocampus is damaged, new memories just don't record. So when your loved one puts their wallet on the kitchen counter, their brain doesn't store that moment. It doesn't remember that it did that. So then what does the brain do? The brain goes back to the last clear memory it has, which might be from years ago, when the wallet was always in the bedroom. Now the wallet's no longer in the bedroom, but the brain has no recording of putting it somewhere else. So the only logical explanation the brain can come up with is that somebody took it. It's not manipulation. They're not trying to make your life more difficult. It's that the brain is trying to do the best that it can with the information that it has. And given what information it has, the conclusion that they reach actually makes sense. Number two, the prefrontal cortex. This is the brain's judgment and reasoning center. It's no longer doing its job. In a healthy brain, there is an ongoing conversation between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala, which is the brain's alarm system. So when the amygdala sends up a fear signal, the prefrontal cortex checks it. It says, wait, let's think about this. Is there another explanation? What else might be going on here? In dementia, the prefrontal cortex is not functioning the way that it used to. So fear signals from the amygdala come through loud and unfiltered. The brain feels a sense of threat. Something is wrong, something is missing, something is not right here, and it can't reason into a calmer conclusion. The suspicion feels completely real and completely justified. Think about it like this. Imagine that someone turned off the part of your brain that second guesses your first instinct. So, whatever you felt first, that's the truth. That's what dementia does to the filter between fear and certainty. Number three, the brain fills in gaps with stories. This is called confabulation. Confabulation is when the brain unconsciously creates explanations to fill in memory gaps. The brain literally can't tolerate the blank space. So it's not trying to lie, it's just trying to fill in the blank space. They're not deliberately trying to make up a story. They're not deliberately trying to lie to you. They believe what they are saying completely. Their brain has built in a story. Someone stole it. You stole it. And that story feels as real as anything they've ever known. So, to put it plainly, this is not a character attack on you. This is not ingratitude. This is not your loved one showing you who they really are. This is what happens when the hippocampus, the prefrontal cortex, and the amygdala are all damaged at the same time by a neurological disease. This is a brain injury. This is the brain not working normally. Now, what do we typically do in these moments? How do we respond when we get accused? Now, I want to talk about some things that we naturally do in these moments, things that feel totally normal for us to react, but they tend to make the situation worse. I'm not saying this to criticize you, to make you feel guilty, to make you feel bad. These are all just normal human reactions that the majority of us have. And I want you to understand why these responses don't work, given what we know about the brain, and then we'll talk about what does work. So, one, trying to argue or prove your innocence. This can feel like the only logical response, right? You didn't do it. You didn't steal it. You didn't take it. Of course, you want to say so. But remember, their prefrontal cortex isn't working the way that it should, which means logic and evidence don't land the way that they used to. Arguing is rarely going to change their belief. It only typically escalates their fear. Number two, searching for the item by yourself. If you go off alone trying to find the missing wallet and come back holding it, sometimes it can feel like it just reinforced their suspicion. Their brain may interpret this as they had it all along, they just brought it back. Instead, try searching together. Three, getting visibly emotional or defensive. We are hurt, so we show it. That's human. For a person with dementia, their amygdala, it's already on high alert. And when they are seeing the strong emotion on your face, the emotions of hurt, anger, tears, it can feel like confirmation that something is wrong. And that can intensify their fear response. They're not understanding those emotions you're showing are because they're wrong. They are interpreting it as just something is wrong. Number four, maybe you're feeling the urge to bring in other family members to defend you. And I totally understand that impulse completely. But when we escalate by involving more voices telling them they're wrong, like more people telling your loved one that they're wrong, it often increases confusion, increases agitation rather than resolving anything. And number five, taking it personally again and again without any support for yourself. This is the one that I see the most because you're human, because we feel it, because we're not robots. You're absorbing these accusations day after day without an outlet. It will wear you down, eventually affect your ability to keep giving care, and maybe even build up a lot of resentment and frustration toward your loved one. Okay, so we know that the natural human inclination and reaction, our impulses, typically aren't going to work to help in these situations. So what can we do? Here are four things that you can try. Number one, don't argue. Enter their reality instead. Rather than saying, I didn't take your wallet, try something like, oh, let's find it together. You're not agreeing that you took their wallet. You're not agreeing that you stole it. You're agreeing that something feels wrong to them and that you want to help them. This meets them where they are at without adding any fuel to the fire. Number two, search with them, not for them. Walk with them to look. Let them feel like you are on their team. The goal isn't just them finding the item. It's rebuilding a sense of safety. When you find it together, the emotional relief is shared. Number 3, this is pretty practical, but keep copies of commonly lost items whenever possible. If it's always the wallet, consider keeping a second wallet with a small amount of cash. If it's always a specific piece of jewelry or a set of keys, if possible, have a duplicate. This is not about deception. It's about reducing the frequency of crisis moments and giving the brain the I found it experience that it desperately needs. 4, after the crisis passes, take a deep breath and remind yourself of the truth. The accusation is not who your loved one is. It is not a window into how they truly feel about you. It is a symptom, one of the most painful symptoms of dementia, but a symptom nonetheless. So if you need to, say it out loud to yourself. This is the disease. This is not them. This is not about me. I just want to sit for a moment with you. Being accused of stealing by someone you are sacrificing so much for comes with a particular kind of grief. It's not just frustrating, it's a loss. It's a loss of being seen for who you really are and who you know you are. The person who used to know you best in many situations is now a person accusing you of something you would never do. Inside our support rooms, caregivers sometimes talk about how this kind of accusation almost hurts more than many of the other hard situations of caregiving, more than the physical exhaustion, more than the sleepless nights, because it strikes at something fundamental. It strikes at your identity, your dignity, your relationship, your intentions. You are allowed to feel hurt by this. You are allowed to feel angry by this. You are allowed to grieve the relationship that you had before. All of those feelings can be true at the same time as your deep love you have for this person. Again, as we've mentioned before, understanding all of this isn't going to erase all the pain and make things easier, but it can help stop you from carrying blame that doesn't belong to you. Careblazer, you're doing something incredibly difficult, but incredibly meaningful. If this video helped you understand what's going on with the brain, if it helped you figure out maybe some different ideas of what you can do differently the next time this happens, and if you haven't already, you can click the red subscribe button on your screen. It's totally free. And it helps YouTube show these videos to another Careblazer out there in the world searching for information and who doesn't know that this channel yet exists. Also, if you're looking for more deeper support from myself, other experts, and most importantly, other amazing Careblazers, I invite you to check out our Care Collective program, where week after week after week, we have multiple support groups happening. We have live question and answer sessions with other experts, and we have ways that you can get all the help and support you need without ever having to change your schedule. You can learn more about the Care Collective, sign up for our weekly newsletter, The Dementia Dose, and so much more by clicking on the description. There's links in the description below this video, or just go to our website, careblazers.com. I will be back next week with a new video. Careblazer, sending you so much love. Bye.
Also, Nico gets a belly rub for every person who subscribes from this video. So if you haven't already, click the red subscribe button. It's totally free. And Nico says, thank you very much.